Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. I'm Damian Hill. With me, as always, is TJ O'Connor. Trash Talk is brought to you again by Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Spartan Martial Arts, Ink Shrinks Tattoo out in New Brighton, Minnesota, Origin Wellness CBD, James Clark Sports Psychology and Hypnosis Therapy, The Fighters, and TJ's mom. How you doing tonight, TJ?
I can't complain, boss. How you doing?
I'm doing great, dude. Well, I don't know about the fans that are friends with you on Facebook on your personal page, but if you guys don't know, we are expecting a baby. TJ and Audrey are pregnant.
Yeah.
So there's going to be another Trash Talk baby running around here. But with that, there's going to come some changes, you know. Tell us a little bit about the daily struggle just with the 2-year-old.
Oh, man. I mean, I think the fans of the show that have had the pleasure of living daily with a 2-year-old know that that is an excitement all its own, to where there's no such thing as planning things. Sometimes we're going to have a nice day, and then, boom, we're at home having a shitty one real fast. But, I mean, it's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, taking this step into being a parent, you know, just kind of doing that whole stuff. It's fun, and getting number 2 out of the way here, because then I'm done. That's it.
Yeah.
1, 2, done.
You got somebody to play with, and that's it.
Yeah. Got to have a fucking training partner.
Oh, yeah. Well, with that, we have, 7.5 more months before the expected date of the baby and all that, maybe a little less, I'm not sure, but
5 months. Yeah.
Oh, 5 months. Wow. Okay.
Quick.
So we got less time. So
Yeah.
You guys, like, we're going to be making that transition into a new baby. We're not going to be able to film every day like we do now. We're going to have to set up like 1 or 2 days per week where we record like 12 interviews, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
We've banged out like 5 before in a day. I think is that the most that we've done?
I think 5's the record.
Yeah, so we've done 5 in a night before. So we can do 5 in a night and then a few the next night and still be able to have videos every single day. But as most of the fighters know, our schedule is between 7:30 and 11, I guess. Like, we try to be before that, you know, everybody
After
has a
work,
job
before sleep.
work and stuff. But we 7:30 to around 9 is when we like to do the interviews, because right around 9:30 we'd be wrapping it up and we can get it done. But that is gonna have to change, where I don't know what day or whatever, like a Wednesday between 7:30 and 9, and that's our limit. If we can't fit you in then we can't, and that's gonna suck. But I feel like the fighters are going to be willing to compromise with us, and we appreciate you guys all who are going to be willing to make that compromise with us, because as the fighters that know, that have families of their own, it's hard. I wouldn't know anything about it. I get to hear TJ talk to me about it, so I get like a secondhand look at it, you know. So I mean, we understand. I understand to a certain extent, and I hope that the fighters and the fans of the show understand as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think they do, especially like I said, the ones with kids. And if you don't have kids yourself, we all have nieces and nephews. We all know firsthand, you know, the chaos that comes with the love and that is children. But like you said, man, you know, the way we do things are going to change. But from the fans' perspective, you're not going to notice a thing. There's still going to be daily trash talk content in your face. If anything, it's just going to cause probably myself to do a little bit more planning rather than just hitting up Old Reliable and texting the few guys that we know are down to record on like 5 minutes notice at all times.
Yeah. Oh my God. We've done that a few times, but we know the ones that we done it to. So like we know that they were down, or there was like a half plan to get them on. But not okay. So now that you're having the kid, though, is that something that went into the news that just broke on Facebook this morning about you taking another fight in March?
It is. As silly as it sounds, I feel like this is something that I had to do. I'm still young. I talk like an old man all the time on the show about how I'm old and retired, but I'm still young, and that passion's still there. You made a post about it the other day. Just how often do I think about fighting? Constantly. I mean, this is what I do all day. I literally submerge myself into it. It wasn't something that was planned by any means, but as well as I do when the promoter calls and it's someone that you care about, in this case like Jim Clark, someone who's been there for me my whole career, and he gives me the opportunity and asks if I want to compete, especially on St. Patty's Day weekend, being the Irish guy. I had to take it, and it was the opponent really didn't matter. He offered me a guy called Marquis Solomon, who's a big guy. I'm sure he hits hard and stuff like that, but it's kind of irrelevant to the matter. This is the TJ O'Connor show. I mean, it's going to be a one-sided fight, one-sided show. Buy your tickets now and come watch it.
Well, I want to get more into that and ask you more, but I feel like we're gonna have to save that one for a later date for a more in-depth interview about the fight. But I like what you just said. That's funny. And then, I mean, how many kickboxing? Because this is gonna be a kickboxing match, right?
It's kickboxing, yeah, and this will be my second kickboxing match, yeah.
Okay, I thought I was gonna say it's your third, right? But that was an amateur boxing match, actually. The other one, okay. Boom. Yeah. What's your? Damn, dude, we've been through a lot.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that we'd be fucking that? I mean, I guess it's always been in the back of my mind just because I've heard other athletes talk about it. Planning on what's going to be next afterwards. Yeah. It's always in the back of my mind, but I never planned on doing anything but fighting. Like, did you see yourself did you see the turning into trash talk, dude?
No, I mean, I knew the first day I walked into a martial arts gym that I was going to be involved some way, some fashion with this sport. I mean, it goes back to my childhood. I mean, hearing stories from my parents about, being obsessed with starting off with WWF and transitioning that into real fighting, boxing, stuff like that, all the action figures. When I look back on it, it all makes sense, really. That this is kind of where I ended up. So being able to do this is something that I love. And when you started Trash Talk at first, I was so happy that you started it, because this is something, I mean, we've talked about on the show before that we used to talk about this, not about recording it, but just talk about the same way, just in your room forever. So when I seen you started, it was beautiful. And then when you gave me the call and you asked me to join, I had to do it. And now, did I think we'd be here a little bit less than a year later? No.
Nah, dude. Oh my God. And then same with me. I don't know exactly when it was, but it was when I was fighting. I started to just get mad at some of the things that I would see that were written about me, or what some of the commentators would say during the fights and stuff. And it's do they even fight? And then actually meeting them and finding out you don't wrestle, you don't do jujitsu, you don't even train at a gym. You watch the UFC and you think that you are qualified to commentate my fight and tell people what I'm doing is wrong. One of the things, that I did before is when I throw my hook, I always follow it back. I always follow it back with the backhand, Well, they were saying oh, that's stupid. It's out of disparity, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what the hell, dude? And then when I knocked the motherfucker out with it, then they asked me why I do it. You assume that it was just something stupid because you never seen it before. And that's from an uneducated opinion. In boxing, you're not allowed to come back with your backhand. It was a boxer who told me that's dirty boxing, because boxers will do it sometimes. They'll throw a hook, miss the hook, or land the hook, and then come back. But they'll come back with the side of their fist like this, like a hammer fist almost. And it's cheating in boxing, but it's legal in MMA, and it's practical because it keeps your opponent from jumping in. If you miss a hook, I'm going to, you're open now, but instead of missing the hook, bringing it back, resetting and bringing your hands back up, cut out some of that. Cut out that motion of your hand being down and bringing your hand back. You throw it, you miss it, you bring it right back. You bring that shit like a bit slap, and I did that, and I knocked somebody out with it. And then they were, when I talked to them afterwards, I tried to make them feel stupid because you told everybody on your website that I was fighting out a disparity the first time I did it, and that I was scared. And it's like, to hear that, especially from somebody who's not even educated about it, it pissed me off. You know, I mean, and hearing people with those types of opinions or misinforming people, because this website had an audience of people, but none of those people knew that this dude didn't actually train or box or anything like that, you know, but he's the one putting out the story. Well, it's like, why don't you have an educated opinion? Like, if you're going to put yourself in a position to be the one to tell everybody how bad I am, at least like be accurate about what you think is bad about me, you know, and that you're not even furthering your knowledge in it. It's like, it really bugged me. And then also when I'd hear commentators that actually did fight, not even researching what the fuck they're looking at, because I got taken down in a fight, and then I started getting bashed by the commentator saying, because I'm going against a guy who's never wrestled or who only had high school wrestling experience, and they're saying that I'm a collegiate level wrestler. I never fucking went to college. Where the hell did you get that? I wrestled 3 years in high school because I got expelled. I wrestled 1 year in junior high. What? And I'm like, and then I got to listen to that. And then people are coming up to me saying like, yeah, dude, like with the wrestling background, you have a collegiate wrestling background. And like, they're attacking me for it off of the misinformation that this commentator gave. And it's like, and he's actually a fighter, so he has a respected opinion, but it's misinformed. That all of those things played into a factor of me wanting to do this, or wanting somebody who was more educated involved in this aspect of the game. And then once I got suspended from fighting and I wasn't able to fight for 2 years, it just, I was like, you know what? Why I'm always wishing somebody else would do it. Like, I need to do it. You know, I'm going to do it. Especially like, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or try to say that I'm the most qualified. I'm always trying to learn, but I have 56 professional fights. I mean, between boxing, kickboxing, and MMA, hundreds of wrestling matches and jiu-jitsu matches, hours and hours and hours on the mats. I trained with, oh my God, like almost every coach in Minnesota that was a striking coach. I've worked with them or at least been in the same room and picked up some advice from them, you know? And when it comes to jiu-jitsu, I've worked with some of the best black belts in the state. I've picked up and put down what I needed, what I didn't need, and things like that. Whether I do a triangle in a fight ever or not, I know how to do it, and I know what it is when I see it, you know? And then also knowing that, like, how involved were we in this game where we're just looking up guys who are all on the card, especially you know, looking guys up that are on the same card as me, just so you can see what the card is like, finding out who trains with who does what with what. And then it's like we were able to form these educated opinions because we know who these guys are training with. We know what almost their training regimen. We know what they're good at because we've seen them actually fight. And then talking to these people at the fights. We're not just guessing. Like, I'm going to be like, oh, I think he has a wrestling background. I'm going to go up to the fighter and ask him, hey, you used to wrestle, didn't you? He's like, oh, yeah, only 3 years, though. Or, oh, yeah, dude, I was a national champion. I'm like, oh, shit. Well, now I know. And then you go. So and the people that were like misinformed or didn't actually check up on it, like, used to piss me off too. And it's just like, and it's arrogance again, because anytime, like, I think about it like this, what made me think I was going to be a good fighter? I seen some guys on TV doing it. It's like, I could do that, you know? And it's like, it's a mixture of confidence and arrogance. And I speak on it all the time. Like, so when it comes to like the commentating and stuff too, it's like, psh, I could fucking do that. Look at all these fucking weak ass jabronis doing it. Psh, I could do it. And I could probably do it better. Better is a relative term. When I say better, I mean more accurate, especially on the local scene, on the guys that I know and I speak to regularly. Shit.
Yeah. No, dude.
Involved in the MMA, especially now, being involved with the MMA community as often as possible. Like, I creep on every single fighter's fucking Facebook, dude. Like, I'm sending out friend requests to fighters. Are like, who the fuck is this guy? And I'm like, I know who you are. I mean, and it's just like, I wanted somebody to do that shit. And then it's like, well, no one's going to do it for you, you know? And I wasn't doing shit anyway.
No, and it's that passion that has allowed, you to propel trash talk to where it has gone. I mean, in less than 2 years now, really. And I mean, and one of the things that I love that you said there, because I feel like that's what really rounded out your statement. And I don't even know if you meant it, but this is the way I took it, is how you started fighting because you looked at it and said, oh, I could do that. But that's what makes your opinion credible, is that the fact that you went and you did do that. You accomplished it. You did it at a high level. The thing with fighting is you watch it, and everybody's been in a fight, whether it's with your brother in sixth grade, whatever. So when you see it, you automatically assume, well, I could do this, I could do that. And that's where you get guys who they may be journalists, or, we see a lot in mainstream where guys they do reporting for other sports, and then they always have like the worst takes ever on fighting, and it's because there's something with experience that comes there. And traditionally in other sports, I feel like even at a local level, high school level, you talk down on stuff you don't like. Oh, these guys are bad, these guys are this, these guys are that. Fighting, you can't do that with fighting. Fighting it's so personal, and we've talked about this so many times. Fighters are so damn sensitive. You can't come on and bash a fighter and not expect repercussions, not expect this person to get mad, and not expect this person to say things back to you. So that's why you really have to watch what you say and how you say it, especially when it comes to fighting. Because I mean, even if what you're saying may be true, sometimes you have to say it a little bit different, because this is more than a sport.
Can I say something? Okay, so like the thing is like some of these reporters are justified for asking the question, like like the thing is, like I don't like to ask people about their losses, but I feel like I'm comfortable enough with people to talk about it if it comes up, but I don't like to be the one to bring it up. And one of the things that pisses me off the most is when a reporter or somebody brings up, you lost your last 2 fights or something like that or whatever. And it's like, granted, yes, that's factual. I did lose my last 2 fights, but you know how bad it feels to hear you say that and throw it in my face right now. Even if you're not throwing it in my face, that's how it feels. It feels like that to hear that from you. Now, let's say I know I'm talking to Chuck Liddell and he's reminded me of my last 2 losses. I'm like, well, shit, well, he's been there, like, I mean, I understand that he's not being a dick about it. Like, he's asking a question, but even then it still sucks being reminded of your losses. It just, there's something about it. It just feels better coming from somebody else who's been that vulnerable before too.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm paraphrasing here, and I don't even want to steal too much of it, but when you're in that cage, you're figuratively and half literally naked. I mean, you're so exposed in front of hundreds or thousands of people, and I mean, shit happens. I mean, there's times where you train as hard as you can and it just doesn't go your way. I mean, for every great knockout, every quick knockout, somebody's on the receiving end of that, and that doesn't make that person inadequate or a bad fighter. I mean, it's literally the game we play. I mean, like I said, for there to be the highlight, there has to be another person there. So to degrade that person or to shuck them off, I mean, like I said, I don't like seeing that type of stuff. I feel like in this sport, especially in all combat sports, you have to uplift and talk positive about people, because I mean, like I said, fighting's so damn mental. It's so real. It's more than, I mean, I like to say it's a game. It's a beautiful game. That's my phrase I always use, but it's far from it. It's so damn personal. I mean, losing a basketball game, I'm sure it sucks. Losing a football game is horrible, but losing a fight, I mean, getting literally beat up and then having to emotionally deal with that as well, while you got to those people talk shit, whether they're your naysayers or even your friends sometimes. I mean, sometimes you got to take it, but like you said, when it comes from someone, like even if it's someone who's giving you crap a little bit, when it's someone who's been there and you can feel it, rather than, I mean, even something as simple as, oh yeah, man, you got beat up tonight, you can come back. When someone who's been there and they've felt that feeling tells you that, it's more than just some random person saying, "Oh man, you got beat up tonight, you'll be back." Because it's like, motherfucker, do you know how, like, what, you don't know what this like this isn't the time right now.
Well, one of my favorite ones is like when well, this is actually my buddy Dion. You met him, but we were talking. He was giving a fighter crap. He's like, why don't he just check those kicks? I'm like, dude, it's not that easy. Probably like they're coming. Like you can see him like lifting up his leg. It's just he's already being hit in the thigh by the time he starts to react to it. Like sometimes guys are faster than your reaction time and things like that or whatever. But he thinks it's so simple. He comes into the gym one day. He knows how to check a kick. Or at least he knows how to check a kick. Fucking motherfucker wasn't walking. He could not walk out of practice, dude. Like I kicked him in his like 3 times, fucking times, and that was it. And I'm like, and I gave him full opportunity to check that shit, dude. Like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I mean, there was a reporter once that asked Robbie Lawler, how come he didn't block that jab? Like, motherfucker, I was trying to.
Yeah.
Like he says, oh yeah, I was trying to parry it and then get out of the way or whatever, but I didn't. What the fuck do you want from me? And it's like, it's people like that. Like you're asking or you're saying that something like it's so easy to do and stuff. Granted, like there's some things that you would think like, oh, they're a professional. They train in this every day. They should be able to do it and everything. It's like, it's not just that simple. Most of these people every day get up and walk around, you know, they can walk down the hall. They can walk up the stairs and shit. They can walk down the stairs, but these motherfuckers still trip sometimes. You've been walking every day. You're fucking 30 something. You're whatever. Like you tripped. How the fuck could you trip? You were a professional walker. You've been doing this for 15 fucking years. Shit like that. Like how the hell are you gonna judge somebody who's been trained? Like, if that reference doesn't, if you don't get it from that reference, like, come on, like,
no, dude, that's the perfect way of summing it up. I mean, it's like you can do things a million times, and sometimes it's just shit doesn't work. And like I said, to talk down upon that, that's why. I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't know if the fans have realized this because we never address it. But that's why we stay away from that type of stuff. We focus on the positives. It's not something that we do. We want to talk to the guys that are winning. It's about giving the respect to the people that unfortunately didn't get the nod that night, because you know how that feels. I mean, 2 guys get in, only one person can win unless it's some weird shit, and we don't want weird shit either. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Sorry, that was funny what you said. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I mean, that's just finished. That's kind of what it is. It's just, you know, it's a real personal game, and I'm just repeating myself more than anything. So it's just.
I had something on the tip of my tongue about it too. Fuck, I can't remember exactly what I was gonna say, but it's about the sensitivity of the. It was about when you brought up the sensitivity of that we have towards the fighters. You know why we will talk to the winners. Okay, I remember exactly what it is now. Stephen A. Smith. You know, and I'm not trying to get off the topic because we like to talk about the local stuff, you know. But a guy like that, reporters like that, they get their job is to get a reaction from you. You know, their show gets watched not because people like their opinions, but it's because they hate their opinions. And while you're watching that show, one of your buddies is going to agree with them, and then you're going to disagree, and then vice versa all the time. But now you and your buddy are engaged, and you have something to debate about and everything. And that's shows like that do, you know. And it goes directly after human emotion. You know, we're all interested in that stuff. Like whether you know you get drawn into it or not. I think we've all fell victim of getting drawn into something that we're better than this argument. We're better than this, or like we're better than even giving somebody a reaction to what they said. You know, Stephen A. Smith has a very uneducated opinion, so it shouldn't matter, you know, but it does because it outraged people. That is what I think you were speaking on earlier. That has no place in MMA, at least in my mind, you know, and because we were fighters and stuff, I'm not going to try to get you mad and try to drop the fucking ratings. I want the ratings to come because of people liking you, not because I got you to react in a bad way. I see reporters do that shit all the time. Like, I'm studying the fuck out of this shit. I watch good interviews. I watch bad interviews. I watch how to do good interviews, what led to an interview being bad, things like that. I still fuck up. I'm still learning. But I will never ask a guy, how could you just let him knock you out? Like, what the fuck?
It's a great question. You know, I really should have just moved, you know?
Like, I don't know. It's just, That's my point. You know, I feel like in the people that are reporting on MMA and stuff like that, like you have I don't know, Ariel Hawani. I feel like he sold out. I felt like he had a good grasp on it for a while, you know, where he was talking to the fighters and just trying to get the real stories. And the thing is that made some of what he said a little bit insulting is, I guess, Rampage and Nick Diaz were two prime examples. You know, they got mad at him for asking questions. It's because he didn't fight before, but he does still have a good understanding. So when you ask a guy about a loss, or when you ask a guy about certain things that other fighters have said or whatever and shit like that, it comes across like, what are you trying to get out of this? Are you just trying to get a reaction from me to get your show fucking good? Or are you actually asking from a fan's perspective? And for a long time, Ariel was just asking questions from a fan's perspective and but also had an understanding of the game. Now I feel like this motherfucker straight up instigates shit. Him and Chael Sonnen, like he just tries to talk shit to get Chael to respond or whatever, right? So I don't even know if I necessarily agree with that anymore. But there's other reporters and stuff like that actually like started training and getting more of a grasp in the realm of martial arts. You know, fucking, there's almost no excuse. Like if you want to be a doctor, you got to go to medical school. If you want to be I don't know. I guess it is a different because anybody can do this shit. Like anybody can just start reporting, or if you have charisma or anything, you can probably go get a job at a news station. They might stick you out there reporting on basketball, reporting on football, and you don't even watch the fucking sport. Might have to go interview a stand-up comedian and you don't even you never even heard of them. Shit like that. Like things like that will happen with certain jobs and stuff. But it's like in fighting, it's like it's so easy, or not easy, but for the people that want to specifically revolve around this being at all, it's like you can get an educated opinion. You know, you can even just look some stuff up before you start speaking. But Ashton Kutcher just got his fucking black belt. Jonah Hill is a purple belt. You have fucking A-list actors in fucking Hollywood. You have these fucking some other just random because they like watching MMA, furthering their knowledge in martial arts, and they're just doing it. Like, but if you're like, if what's his name, Stephen A. Smith reporting on MMA or whatever, oh, you punch mitts like a bitch. Yeah, go to a fucking jiu-jitsu class, dude. Go to a jiu-jitsu class. Go to practice. Go to sparring or whatever. Get knocked the fuck. Don't even get knocked out. Get dropped in sparring. And then not even go in a real fight, just in sparring. Go spar some fucking body. See if you get dropped. And then when you do get dropped, let's see if you feel like Donald Cerrone took a fucking dive. Like, okay, rant over.
No, I mean, it was the perfect rant. There was nothing more infuriating than when I seen a couple of accusations come out right after that fight about, you know, to question someone like that. It's just like that was just.
How long have we been recording?
28 minutes.
28?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
I figured this was going to get chopped up into like.
I went on some rants. Sorry, what you say?
I feel like. No, I was gonna say, I feel like this one might get chopped. Like, I figured if anything, like, because of the different rants, it might just be good for like random videos.
Oh, I'm gonna post this whole thing and then crop it up throughout the next few days.
Nick Diaz.
All right. This has been Trash Talk. Like and subscribe, motherfuckers. Don't be a hoe.
That was real life shit at the end.